Bing bong.
Ready?
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And welcome everyone to Sports Opinions with Regular Guys. I'm Frank. This is Mike. A lot has been going on in the NBA playoffs in the last week or so since we last did a show. And so we'll get right into it. We have a pretty good long agenda here, so we'll get right down to it. Starting with our Bulls, our Chicago Bulls, who got eliminated, yesterday.
So disappointing.
Yes, it is. So they got eliminated yesterday. It really wasn't even a contest, which I kind of expected that was going to happen. They got blown the hell out the building. Basically the last 3 games. Actually the whole series, except for the game that they won.
Well, the first game was close.
Yeah, but after game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5 weren't even close. They weren't even, the Bulls were not even in the game. So the Bucks took the Bulls out their misery. So the Bulls go down in defeat, 3-1 to Milwaukee. Milwaukee advances to the second round. The Bulls stay home, lick their wounds, get ready for the offseason because there are some moves they got to make. They were competitive this season. I'm not going to say anything about that. They made the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. They had success. So they had some successes this season. They made the playoffs. They were over 500. I mean, they were competitive up until the All-Star break. And then everything fell apart. And it showed. But I am glad they didn't make the playoffs. Though at least they're contending. But they got to make some moves, and they got to do some work in the upcoming season. They got some decisions to make because of what are they going to do with Zach LaVine. In my opinion, people, he's going to continue to be called JR because he didn't win the Bulls a series, and again, this guy caught COVID again for the 3rd time in a year. Okay. And for the 2nd time in as many years, he kind of disappointed the Bulls. Last year he got COVID, missed the last 2 weeks of the season. And the Bulls were right in the middle of trying to get into the play-in tournament, and he ditched out and got COVID and missed the whole rest of those games, and they lost all those games. They were eliminated.
Yeah.
This season, elimination game. Day before he gets COVID again. He just got this goddamn COVID. In December or January, and then missed other games with knee soreness or whatever it is with his injuries, and it's becoming an issue. And he's talking about he wants a max contract. The Bulls are giving him a max contract. I say no to that. As a matter of fact, I would say, why don't they just think about trading him? Because in my opinion, he has not earned a max contract. In the playoffs, you're supposed to step up your game, not decline in your game. You're supposed to be putting up more than what you average in all your stats. More points a game, more assists a game, more rebounds a game, more blocks a game, less turnovers a game, more aggressive in the playoffs. Was he? No. Was he hurt? If he was hurt, then he shouldn't have played. And it probably wouldn't have made a difference anyway because obviously he didn't really do much. He was mediocre. Putting up 20 points is not really impressive when you're putting up almost 30 in the regular season and you drop down 20 or 22. I mean, give me a break. And then you're all double teaming DeRozan, and what's he gonna do? He's only one guy here. That's why JR is here to help. Vooch, I'll give Vooch, he showed up a little bit.
Double every night.
But, still not as aggressive because you still are sitting there letting Lopez score whatever he wants. You're letting Porter score whatever he wants. It's ridiculous. It was really a bad series overall. The one bright spot I will say about the series for the Bulls is Williams because he actually shows what he could bring to the game, what he would bring to the table come next season, if he's healthy. He could put up 30 points a game, and there you go. You don't need Zach LaVine. When you have Williams up here who could put up 33 points a game and plays defense and blocks shots, he could probably give you more than what JR's giving you. So, that's one bright spot I think the Bulls have for their future, and they got him locked up, so he ain't going anywhere. He's on his rookie contract. JR max contract, really? I don't know about that. I don't think he should get a max contract. In my opinion, and what really irks me, what really irked me in this series, it wasn't Giannis, because I knew Giannis was going to get whatever he wanted. Middleton didn't play. He didn't play in the series. He got hurt. But what really bothered me was Grayson Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Getting all these points. This man has never scored this many points in his career.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Portis, get out of here. Those guys should be shut down. Now, those type of guys are mediocre role players who are good for a shot here and a shot there, but they're sure in the hell are not good enough to be scoring 25, 30 points in a game. And you should be locking them down to under 10 a game, in my opinion. And the Bulls did it. They let him get whatever he wanted. Who was the other one? That one who scored 20 yesterday?
Connaughton.
Really? Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Mr. We don't know who this is, scoring over 20 points. Another nobody. It's ridiculous. I'll tell you what, though. What's his name again?
I think it's Patrick Connaughton.
Pat Connaughton.
Yeah.
Connaughton, Grayson Allen, and Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez. I can almost make a bet that all four of those guys are going to do absolute shit in the next round against Boston. They're not going to score nowhere near what they were scoring against the Bulls, against Boston, which is a better defensive team and a better offensive team. And they have the home court advantage because Milwaukee no longer has home court in any round. If things go the way they're going, Milwaukee will not have any home court advantage in any round moving forward all the way to the finals. And that's going to hurt them. Middleton ain't going to play in this series. They don't know when he's coming back. So they're in trouble.
He's out for the next series also.
Okay, well, then they're finished. But anyway, we'll talk about that later on. But the Bulls, they have a lot of work to do this offseason. Disappointing playoff series. But it's no surprise to me. I knew they were going to lose this series. I just wanted to be competitive. But it is what it is. Milwaukee moves on. The Bulls go home, start their offseason. What's your opinion about what happened with the Bulls?
It's going to be negative stuff. Because I had high expectations for the Bulls since the entire season, since our first show in January. Our first show, we were talking about the Bulls, and if you catch any of it, we were like the top team in the East, even the top 3 all the way until February. I expected a whole lot more than this, but it looks like as the season went on, we just could not play or beat any of the top tier teams. Every win we got was always from some, bottom barrel team. Okay, we can beat them. DeRozan goes for 40 on them. Cool. But what happens when you play a top tier team like Milwaukee, like the Heat, like the 76ers? What's going on? So everything that Frank just said right now, I agree with. Normally I don't see eye to eye with him on everything. I agree with all that. Now the Zach LaVine thing, I usually stand up for him because I do like Zach LaVine, but what he did was disappointing. I can't just blame him because it is the COVID protocol, but at the same time, everyone else on the team managed to stay away from COVID this many times in the season. How did you get COVID again? And no one else on the team has it again, in a pivotal game like this. That was disappointing because last year the same thing happened. We were trying to fight for a playoff spot. This man got COVID and he was on the 14-day protocol, and we ended up missing the playoffs or play-in, whatever, all in general. So I'm really disappointed by that. I wasn't going to say he was going to be a max player because of the past 2 seasons and postseasons. I don't think he's a max player anymore. And like Frank said, give him a good offer. But as far as you getting a max offer, man, I guess if you want to step somewhere else and walk off, you might have to do that because the knee inflammation and the constant COVID, it's a problem, man. We're trying to win, and I like you, but we'd like to see you put a little bit more heart, a little bit more effort. DeRozan showed up, not really because he only scored 11 points. He did get shut down the last game.
Wow.
He was double teamed every single minute, which did open up an opportunity for Patrick Williams to get some scoring in because everybody's attention was on DeRozan. There was no Zach LaVine around. I don't think that means that Patrick Williams is the player of the future because I still think he's still trade bait, in my opinion. If we can get someone for Patrick Williams and possibly with Zach LaVine as a deal, and we possibly can get like another superstar of some sort that will play and wants to win a championship or wants to win a playoff game, then that's what we might have to do. Frank was looking at Kawhi Leonard, possibly as a replacement. Hey, we got a little package deal.
He's a two-time NBA champion.
He is. He has he is a champion. I'm just hoping that he doesn't bring the bad knee and the bad ankle and the bad back, to the Bulls if we were to make a deal with him, because this has just been an ongoing thing for him also. I'm going to leave him alone. Focus on the Bulls. We need to make a change. Because, if we leave the team the same, because today the core team said they want management to keep the team together another season, the same exact team, for them to mesh together.
I keep most pieces. I would keep most of the pieces, the young players, unless there's some kind of spectacular blockbuster dealer out there. I would keep Kobe White because he's still up and developing. Patrick Williams, of course, you want to keep him. You want to keep those two guys. DeRozan's locked up, I think, for another year, I think. Now, JR, in my opinion, or Levine, I honestly think they should trade him, but don't give him max money. He doesn't deserve it. And Vooch, trading block his pieces. If the right pieces out there, good players out there that can make a trade, then fine, go for it. But if there's nothing out there, don't give them away for nothing. Don't just give them away like they gave away Jimmy Butler,
right,
and like they gave away who else? That year they just gave away everyone for nothing. Don't do that. You don't want to rebuild. You want to retool. So I think they need to retool and just tweak it and get a couple of players here. We got to get some aggressive players here.
Yes.
Because we get bullied all the time. Like you're getting bullied by Bucks.
Yes.
Like an ass like Portis. He wants to bring his little toughness in there. He needs someone who was going to bully him.
That's what Tristan Thompson was here for, though.
Yeah, but he didn't do much. So they need someone with impact, someone who's going to be aggressive, someone who's going to be tough. You thought Caruso could get you some of that, but he gets hurt. So they do got to make some moves, I do believe. So they can't keep the same team together. Not the entire team, most of the core, yeah, but they can make some changes, and they have to really think about it. Do you think they should keep JR or Levine?
If we can get someone better, like I said, that's a little bit more dedicated and wants to win a playoff game or a playoff series and maybe possibly a championship, then man, as much as I like Zach LaVine, we'd have to make that move because we're trying to get a little bit further than what we have. I know that it's been 5 years since we made the playoffs, and this has been a great accomplishment. But man, the first game against Milwaukee, we could have won that.
But look at this. Look at these games. Every single game except for game 1, Milwaukee scored over 100 points.
True.
110, 111, 119, 116.
Yes.
The Bulls, 86 points in the first game, 114 in the second game, 81 in the third game, 95 in the fourth game, 100 in the fifth.
Well, that was throwaway.
All of these were throwaway. Game 3, 4, and 5 were throwaway because they got blown out in every one of these games.
Yeah.
Out of them, the closest game was the first game. Other than the first game, but between 3, 4, and 5, game 5 was the closest one. That was 16 points. So, the bottom line is they were just outclassed. They were outmatched because any of these good teams that are in the playoffs now, they would have exposed Milwaukee by not having the second best scorer. And I guarantee you, when we talk about it later, Boston's going to make sure that's taken care of. So moving on, enough of the Bulls. We'll see them in October.
Well, before that, do you really want to see the same core come back? Because what difference is that going to make? What difference is it going to make?
Okay, so fine, keep Caruso.
Okay, you know what?
Lonzo Ball, that's a question mark because, this guy can't stay healthy either.
They say he's at a standstill right now with his knee injury.
What do you mean he's at a standstill?
Meaning that he's not getting any better. He had the same issue with the LA Lakers. I don't know if you remember when he was with the Lakers, he had messed up his knee when he was going for a layup. He came down bad on his knee.
This is what bothers him. If his knee was bothering him, then they should have shut him down like they did earlier and get the surgery done so he'd be ready for the off-season, for the regular season.
Now,
you know what needs to be done. Just get it done.
Now, you said the first name, and thank you for saying that name because this is very important. I like me some Alex Caruso.
Yeah, but you were sweating him.
But man, I do not like the little margarine softness from him, man. That last injury to him was ridiculous. The guy tossed him over, went by him, swung his hand back. He got smacked in the nose. He was bleeding, okay, but it was a smack to the face. Now all of a sudden he has to enter concussion protocols over a smack to the face.
He does take a lot. He does take a lot of punishment.
Bullshit.
No,
that is bullshit.
He does
that
take
is
a lot of
soft, man. He missed a lot of games this season.
He takes a lot of punishment though when he's out there.
Man, I don't. A lot of players do. This is the NBA. I'm really disappointed by him missing that because his defense could have come in a little bit more handy, or at least play your heart out, man.
But you gotta realize
it's ridiculous.
He did not come here.
It's ridiculous.
But you understand, he did not come here to be a starter. He's here to be a bench player. He came in to come off the bench. If Ball was healthy, like he should have been, he would be starting, and Caruso would be coming off the bench, not getting all those minutes where he would be getting injury prone. So that's what happened.
So
Caruso is a bench player, and that's where he fits in on the Bulls bench. That's why the Bulls were doing so well in the first half of the season, is because he was coming off the bench, Ball was starting, and that's how they were getting all those wins. Now, the only thing that could have happened if Patrick Williams had not got hurt in the preseason or early in the regular season, who knows what could have happened. We never had everyone healthy for a long enough stretch at one time. We didn't even have the whole team together at all. The entire team as a core, we didn't have them all. Either Patrick Williams was hurt most of the year, or Ball was hurt half the year, or Caruso was hurt, or JR having COVID issues again, and Green is okay. He's a hustler. He actually brings some intensity and brings heart to the team, and I keep him as a good bench player.
Derrick Jones Jr.
Okay,
so I can get rid of him.
So Derrick Jones Jr. You could, he's expendable.
Thank you.
I give you that.
All he does is get hacks. All he does is hack.
But he does bring somewhat of defense to the team, but he is expendable.
He's always sitting on the bench because he's always getting all these fouls.
Well, he's expendable.
Real quick shot to you. If we get an offer for Lonzo Ball, do we get rid of him?
Yes.
Thank you. I agree with that. On that note, if you want to move on to the next series,
all right. So
Miami Heat and the Atlanta
Hawks.
Hawks.
We talked enough about the Bulls. We spent the last almost 20 minutes talking about the Bulls.
Well, it's our home team.
It's true, but we could spend a whole show about the Bulls, what they need to do, but we have other stuff to get into. A lot of other things
happen. Heat and Hawks. Let's go.
We're more of a Chicago, theme for the most part.
Yeah.
But, anyway, moving on. Nets, Boston.
Oh, that's what we want to do next.
Now, I don't know where to start with this particular series and how it ended. All I'll say is it was a sweep, complete sweep and complete domination of Boston. And it's a shame, because you don't want to see great players like Kevin Durant. And I don't have a problem with Kevin Durant. I don't really care too much for Kyrie Irving, but Kevin Durant, he's a good player, and I hate to see him go out in the first round like that. But unfortunately, that team was a disaster from the start of the season. This was another one that remember everyone. It was picked. These NBA experts, these ESPN, what I'm about to say, D-bags. NBA TV, all those so-called analysts on there, all these shows on there, they all, even your boy Screaming A. Smith, they all had Brooklyn and Lakers in the finals. Lakers couldn't even make the play-in. Brooklyn gets swept in the first round and had to play in the play-in to get in. Now, I don't know if you could have more overrated teams in my life than the Brooklyn Nets and the LA Lakers. But Brooklyn got basically handled, embarrassed, outclassed, outmatched, outwitted, outcoached in every aspect of this series. And it was proven in every single game.
Okay.
And then I think what was it? There was a couple of close games, but Boston showed you
the very
that
first game was the closest game that
they were just outmatched in every step of the way. And they basically, and I don't know about you saw this, but it was the first time that I saw Kevin Durant, for the most part,
get shut down.
He wasn't completely shut down, pretty much almost for the almost fact. He pretty much was almost shut down because he was completely...
Except for game 4?
He was completely He was completely outmatched in all the games.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving was just god-awful. I think he had one game where he scored, 40.
That was the very first game.
That's
39.
it. After that, he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing. You know who did do something for that team but was too little too late? Was Blake Griffin. But they put him in way too late in the game.
Game 4, yeah.
And it was bad. But now you had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. They picked it up. I give them that. I don't really, and I'll be honest, I do not like the Boston. I don't like any of their teams. I don't like, especially the Celtics. I just cannot stand the Celtics.
Okay.
They are one of the most hated teams I hate, but not the most hated team. I just don't like that team. I just don't. I wish they'd go away. But in this case, they won, and I'm kind of glad they did win because Brooklyn, the way that they played, they shouldn't have been in the playoffs this season. They started good. They were number one for the first month, I think, of the season, and then they just tipped off. And you could partially blame that on Kyrie Irving because he decided not to get vaccinated and missed more than half the games of the season, and that was his choice. His choice. It wasn't COVID protocol. It wasn't he got injured. Because he didn't even play the end of last season. He missed the last round of last season's playoffs. What was this year's excuse? Oh, I don't want to get vaccinated, so I'm just not going to play. I don't want to follow the rules because I'm above the rules. And then they get, in a way, exactly what they deserve because they decided to go and trade away James Harden, which they should have kept him.
He was unhappy.
It doesn't matter. Keep him, trade him in the offseason. You have the whole offseason to trade him. He was under contract.
He was unhappy.
You trade him in the offseason. We need you for the playoffs, and you're going to play. We don't care how unhappy you are. You'll be happy when you win a ring, right? And you came to this team you went to the team to get a ring. So shut up. We're playing you. We're not trading you. You're going to play this game and get out there and help us win a championship. But they traded him away, and they got someone who they thought, which is the big joke and laugh is in their face, when they decided to go and trade for someone who doesn't even want to play, and where does it get them? I'm so glad in a way because they deserve it in a way. I'm sad for Kevin Durant, but I'm not. But I'm kind of happy this happened to Brooklyn because you get exactly what you deserve. No one should have traded for Ben Simmons. They should have let Philly keep him or cut him. But they were so quick to try to get him and wanted him, and they just knew and thought he was going to come in there and play. He didn't play not one single minute. He sat there in those ugly-ass clothes he was wearing. What the hell was he wearing?
Look at me.
Yep. Sit on the bench with these ugly-ass clothes, and I don't want to play because my back is hurting, quote-unquote hurting, and I have mental issues again because of my mental issues and my mental stress, that's going to cause me to get back spasms. Oh, my goodness. So they basically dispensed of Brooklyn, the Boston Celtics did. And really, that's not much more I can say about that because I'll be honest with you, this Ben Simmons issue, I know you want to get on him. I'll let you get on him in a minute. I'm finished talking about this guy.
How? This man has 3 years and $114 million left on his contract after this season. You know how much money bro, I wish we were getting a quarter of that money. That'd be great, man. I'd be great. This man's getting so much money to just be sitting there claiming that he has some mental illness, which he clearly doesn't, man. This man does not have no mental, because if you had some mental illness, you wouldn't be out there with them loud ass clothes, orange and blue with your orange glasses, some Fendi clothes. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry because I have I feel like this.
I was gonna let you continue because, like I said, there's not much more for me to discuss about this guy. I said this from a long time ago. It's like beating a dead horse here. He's a quitter. Yes. He's a loser. He's a coward. He can't play. He's not a very good NBA player to begin with. He is mediocre. He can't shoot the ball. He can't make free throws. He's mentally out of the game. He's too scared to play the game. He's too scared to take criticism. He's too scared to face the crowd. He uses excuse after excuse after excuse. You know, why do you need to deal with someone like this guy? There are many more people in this world who would die to get into the NBA to be an NBA player and get what this guy's getting paid. You know, for this loser and this quitter and coward who doesn't want to play at all, get rid of him. Yeah. And I'm sick and tired of talking about this bum. So in my opinion, I'm finished with him. We already know what he is. You know, I mean, God, I got to keep saying this every time. Every year they kept saying this guy's going to get better. He got worse every year. Year after year, he got worse to the point where he can't play no more.
Yeah.
So why are we talking about him? So anyway, what is your opinion about the series itself, Boston and Brooklyn? What's your opinions on this 4-0 sweep?
All right.
Were you surprised by this sweep? Did you think that Brooklyn would give Boston get at least 1 or 2 games out of this?
Yes. Here we go. So, for the Nets, yes, I am surprised by this 4-0 sweep. I expected Boston to beat the Nets, but not sweep them. The first game, Kyrie went off for 39. They only lost by 1 point because of that last second play by Jason Tatum. The inbound, he turned around, spun around, laid the ball up. Beautiful with no seconds left on the clock. They won that game. From that point on, it's just been basically total domination by the Celtics. They shut down Durant. And you talked about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving had his issues for sure, yes. The COVID thing, sure.
He didn't do anything in the series.
He came back. Okay, so I'm going to give you the reason for that. And I'm not here to just because I know we were watched in Europe or watched, in the U.S. Or I'm going to listen to on podcasts. So I'm not trying to insult anyone that's watching or listening to our podcast. But Kyrie Irving was... it is his religion. It is his free religion to practice. But he was practicing Ramadan at that time. As you know, you have to fast before sunrise, and you can finally eat at sunset. Unfortunately, the playoffs is happening while he is practicing his religion. So not eating all in the morning, scrimmaging with your team, practicing, and coming in and playing a full power NBA playoff game, it's very difficult for you to produce it. And I feel, because remember, game 2 and 3, as soon as it was time, they took him out the game. He went to the back. They gave him some bananas. They gave him some food. He ate, and he came back and tried to play again. It's not like you're going to be replenishing your energy right away like that. It takes some time. And I feel that's why he did not perform like he normally would in a playoff game, because we've seen him before. Getting swept was sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, I said the Lakers were the most disappointing team this year. The Nets have to be the second most disappointing team. On paper, look at the names on paper, Frank. Look at the names. You got Kyrie Irving. You got Kevin Durant. Both these guys have won championships. Both these guys know what it takes to win. They should have made this a little bit more competitive. It's either that or what we saw was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown taking over and basically saying, hey, this is our time now. You guys are past your time now. I mean, it's basically the passing of the torch that we watched in front of us, because they basically manhandled Kevin Durant until the game 4 where he went off for 30-something points. I have to look at the box score again. But I watched those games, and I was highly disappointed. You're right. They should have brought Blake Griffin out a whole lot sooner. They didn't. And again, that's a coaching mishap.
By the way, they only bought him out because I guess Weston must have got hurt. Andre Drummond.
Yes, and
what happened?
He's disappointed. They're going to get rid of him this year. They
should have picked him up to begin with.
He'll be gone. Marcus Aldridge, you're going to get rid of him. Also, I mean, obviously,
did he even get any playing time?
No. If you can't,
why even get him? That's what bothers me.
His name. They were expecting to maybe get something more out of him, but obviously his health issues are still a problem, and they don't want to be pushing the man too much because they don't want a death on their hands in the middle of the court, in the middle of a game.
Then they don't let him back in the game.
And that's why I don't think we're going to see him back next year.
Why did he come back? That's why I was saying, why is this guy back? I thought he had heart issues. Why is he coming back?
Money, and you missed the game. You missed the fame. You missed flying around.
Then you shouldn't have left. You left because you have heart issues, so that you shouldn't be coming back in the game. Anyway.
So That's it for that for me. I'm expecting to see some moves with the Brooklyn Nets.
Can
This
they
coming
make any
year,
moves?
they have to.
These guys are under contract for
They
some
have
years.
to make some moves, or else it's going to be the same results next year. James Harden got let go because he was not getting along with Kevin Durant. They weren't even talking. They weren't on talking terms. They had to be separated. Yes, it was a big mistake getting Ben Simmons over there. I've already said what I had to say about Ben Simmons. Disappointing. And I feel like he's just basically just getting paid because he knows he can sit and work out and get paid. He had a meeting saying that he still has mental health issues. I mean, at this point, if you can't play, which I'm sure the league is going to come up with a Ben Simmons rule saying if you don't play, you don't get paid. I'm tired of seeing players in the league doing this right now. I get it. You are a professional athlete, but you're getting a ton of money to bounce a ball around, okay? I wish I could get paid like that to bounce that ball around. I'd play with my leg broken if I had to. So they're disappointing. I'm looking forward to the Boston-Milwaukee matchup next. Great to watch. I'd like to move on to the next one because we spent a good time on this one here.
So moving on next is the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks. So that ended 4-1 Miami. No surprise there. I think I called that in 5 games.
Yes, you did.
If I'm mistaken.
You did. You did call 5 games.
I expected that. I expected this to be a pretty simple series. And, Jimmy Buckets, did what he needed to do in this series. They basically took care of the Hawks. So I'm not going to really say much about the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about on this particular series is the all-star, high-scoring Trae Young, who could shoot the ball from anywhere.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how you feel about this, but Trae Young was, they call him, he was ice. They said he was, what do they call him?
Ice Trae.
Ice Trae. He was sure as ice because he was cold. He was cold as ice.
They shut him down.
And he did nothing.
He has no backup.
He did nothing.
Where was his backup?
But see, last year when he was playing in the playoffs against the Hawks, against the Knicks, and then when I think it was Philly or Milwaukee, one of the teams that they played last year, he was doing pretty well.
Beat the Knicks.
But he also made it to the second round. He did pretty well there too. But this year he took a step back. He did nothing in this playoff.
They played the number 1 Heat.
Doesn't matter. That's
best
Trae Young.
Defense in the league.
He should have. He did nothing.
Best defense in the league.
But we're talking Trae Young, who could hit anywhere anywhere on the court, and he did not do it. To me, I'm sorry, but I really feel that Trae Young is not is overrated at this point because he really disappointed this series, and this series at least would have kind of trying to solidify your career here. I mean, you did, especially what you did last year, in the last couple of years, with all the hype that you've been getting, you've been very disappointing this season. You took a big step back. First of all, you got your team to a number 8 seed, and you had to get into the play-in game to even get in. That's disappointing right there. And then when you get into the playoffs, yeah, you got into the tournament itself after struggling to get into the play-in. And then when you get into the playoffs, you did absolutely shit in the.
He didn't win game 4 for him.
Again, 4-1. And after that, what did he do? He did nothing.
That was game 3. I'm sorry.
He did nothing, though, in this series. He was just a big disappointment. He did nothing. This guy was shooting threes from everywhere, shooting trays from everywhere. Trey from everywhere. Anywhere on the court. And he was nothing but brick, air ball, brick, stripped, blocked, can't shoot, shut down.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sorry. I know you probably feel a lot different, but I think this is a kind of, I hate to say it, kind of a downswing for this guy. I don't think he's going to be much of anything.
Well,
I think he's going to be one of those players that, he'll get into the playoffs, but another James Harden type of player, I want to say.
Statistically, the man put up as good numbers as he did in the regular season this year as he did last year. Even
not in the playoffs where it counts. Again, when you get into the playoffs, You got to score more than what you score in your regular average because you're in the playoffs. It's do or die. And I'm sorry, he did nothing. And so in this series, there was nothing. Heat easily took care of business. The Heat are going to move on to the second round, and they're going to play Philadelphia, who just beat Toronto today. And so with that being said, what do you have to say about the series?
The Heat are the number one seeded team. I expected them to beat the Hawks. They had to do a play in to get into the playoffs. So this was expected. I was expecting everything that happened. I was expecting Trae Young to do a little bit better than what he did. He did get shut down, but he had no other help, man. He had Horder. You had Clint Capella that had the injured knee right before the right in the play-in contest. John Collins. I mean, he had there's a lot of ingredients that were missing this year. He didn't have the backup that he needed, and the Heat took full advantage of that. So badly that the Heat decided to sit out Jimmy Butler Game 5 for a knee injury, and he still handled the Hawks. Like, don't be fooled by the final score of 97-94 Game 5, because actually the Heat were manhandling the Hawks. They just did their little garbage time comeback, and it made the score a little bit more respectable. The Hawks lost. Hopefully Trae Young, they make some moves and put some more people around Trae Young to make him a little bit more successful in the playoffs next year, because obviously he can't bear the responsibility of carrying the team by himself. I think he needs someone else to back him up. That being said, good job, Heat. You're moving on to the next series with the Philadelphia 76ers. Good luck with that, because I still have my 76ers beating the Heat.
We'll get into that.
All right.
Moving on.
Yep.
We got, again, 76ers in Toronto. We just saw the end of that game about an hour or so ago.
I thought this was surprising myself.
Well, this is not surprising to me. It was getting a little interesting in this game today. I think it was like the first half of the game. Toronto, they were down 0-3, right?
Yes.
And they actually were coming back to make it 3-2.
Yes.
And they actually looked like they could possibly win this game.
Wasn't it?
It was 3-2.
Yeah.
But they could have made it 3-3 because they were making it interesting in the first half because they actually were winning. It wasn't until the third quarter where Philly just
exploded.
They exploded. They put the defense on Toronto, just missing all the shots in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give Toronto. They had a good season. They bounced back. They were number 5 seed. But Philadelphia, let's just be honest, Philadelphia's a much better team. You have probably the MVP of the season, and Embiid playing on there. He had a hell of a game. And then they had James Harden, who they traded for, who was productive. A lot more productive. They got a lot more production from him
Yes, they did.
than they would ever have gotten from Ben Simmons.
Yes, they did.
Okay. And then you had Maxey. You had Tobias Harris.
Yes. All showed up.
And you even had Danny Green. I used to like Danny Green, but I don't like him anymore because I think he's an idiot.
Wow.
He should have stayed his butt in San Antonio. He should never have left San Antonio.
Wow.
Him and Patty Mills should have stayed there behind in San Antonio and helped that team, with Kawhi Leonard. And they could have been winning championships in San Antonio right now, possibly. So, but anyway, Philly, basically, they took care of them. And the final score was it wasn't even close.
Outrageous.
It was 132-97. It was a blowout complete. It was such a blowout. In the first, second quarter, you had Drake sitting there in the front row with his kid, cheering and all that. Then when I looked in the fourth quarter, towards the end of the game, he was already gone.
Yep.
That seat was empty.
Adonis is gone.
Yep. So, wow. You can't even see your favorite team lose.
He's an ambassador for the team.
Yeah, that means you're supposed to stay. Stay and shake the players, opposing players' hands.
Yeah.
But nope, he couldn't do that because he couldn't take it. Another baby. Anyway, Philly won this game, so they're moving on to the next round against who are they playing? The Heat. Exactly.
Yes.
So I don't really have too much to say about this. And Embiid was a killer, and Philly's got they got everything together now, so they're moving on to the second round. And it's going to be interesting with the Heat. It's going to be an interesting series for that. We'll get into that in a moment once we get into the second round.
Mm-hmm.
For the East, because the East is already set in the second round. We'll get into that momentarily. But Mike, what did you think about this?
This is gonna be very short, man.
This Toronto Sixers
very short
series.
I expected 76ers to handle the Raptors, period.
Mm-hmm.
The Raptors came out of nowhere. They were bottom of the barrel. They came up with, the Bulls losing and everybody else in the East, falling off. The Brooklyn Nets, they came up. They were very advantageous of that. The New York falling off, they came up. So I don't see talent like that on the team besides Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. Otherwise, everybody else on the team, they're basically role players.
I didn't even mention that. Van Vliet didn't even play the last couple of games.
No. So they're basically
could have been interesting if he played.
I saw a whole lot of role players in the game, so I expected 76ers to win. I expected it all. What I was gonna say is if the 76ers allowed the Raptors to come back from that 3-3, from that 3-2 and make it 3-3, and then they go on and lose that final game.
It would have made history.
First of all, they would have made history. Second of all, Doc Rivers would have been fired on the spot. Because he has a history of these playoff comeback, letting teams come back. I don't know what it is about him, but this seems to be a thing.
He seems to get his teams to the playoffs just to choke at the end.
Yes, and that's
except for
what I mean.
That one Boston team. He kind of reminds me a little bit of his old assistant, Tom Thibodeau.
Ooh.
Who gets his teams going and then they just fall apart down the line.
Nice.
So, we'll see what happens with the Sixers team. They're a good team, but they're not going to win the championship. They're not no championship team. But they are a tough team. Embiid is a good player, but he ain't winning no ring.
They're an Eastern Conference team.
They're not
Eastern Conference champion team.
Look, the East is
wide. Are you going to crown the Boston Celtics?
No. The East is wide open, so anything could happen. So they could make it out the East. I'll give you that. They could make it out the East.
And you know how I feel about champions, right?
But hold on. But they're not winning the championship because they're not gonna beat no team like Golden State. I don't think they'll beat Memphis.
Stop it with
Suns,
Memphis. Memphis is struggling with Minnesota right now.
Any team in the East will beat the Suns in the finals.
Memphis is struggling with Minnesota right now.
So,
Stop it.
Anyway, what else you got?
I'm done with that.
Okay, so
I'm done.
as we know, the Sixers are moving on to the next round.
Yep.
So let's get into the East second round because the East second round series are already set up.
Yep.
So we have Boston and will be hosting Milwaukee in the second round. Of course, Boston has the home court advantage in this one. Now, the regular season series was 2-2, from my understanding. They split the season series, but that doesn't mean nothing. Boston is playing unbelievable basketball right now. And Milwaukee, they beat up Bulls team, the Bulls team that really didn't show up to play, in my opinion. And they're missing their second best player. And they need all of their tools to work together if they're going to beat Boston. They're not going to have Middleton for this series. If I'm not mistaken, I don't believe they're going to have Middleton for this series.
They're not. He's going to be sitting out this series.
So that means they're in trouble.
Can I quickly point out that Milwaukee purposely dropped off from second place to third place so they can play the Bulls?
Yeah, so they can avoid Boston in the first round. I know. And this is what's going to bite them in the ass now. Because now what are you going to do? Now you can't avoid them. Now you got to play them. And you don't even have home court advantage. So, and you don't have your second best player.
Yeah.
So this series, it'll be competitive. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm going to give it Boston 6 games.
Ooh.
I'll say 6 games. I don't think it's going to go 7. I'll say 6 games Boston. And I think Tatum and Brown and Marcus Smart and some of those other guys over there on that team are really going to really put the clamps on Milwaukee, because I'll tell you one thing. Milwaukee ain't gonna have that special match they had against the Bulls with Grayson Allen scoring 20 whatever points, going 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 from the 3-point line. You're sure not gonna have that buster ass Lopez scoring no 25 points a game. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna happen. And who else? And Portis, get out of here. Portis ain't gonna do anything either. He's gonna be shut down.
Yeah.
And so Giannis, of course, they got no answer for him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets frustrated and gets into foul trouble and he's off on this series. But he'll probably end up getting his 25 to 28, maybe even 30 points a game in this series. But it ain't gonna be enough, because I believe Boston's gonna handle them pretty good in this next round. What do you think?
So I'm not gonna see eye to eye on this, because, as you know, I always believe in the champ. You got to beat the champ. Until then, they are still the champ. Boston, this is going to be their first time really being this deep in the playoffs as such a young core team to be seeing an experienced world champion team. I want to bring you back last year. Remember, at some point last year, Giannis was hurt and Middleton had to carry the team until the finals. And they still did it without Giannis because Middleton stepped up. This time it's the other way around. Middleton has a bad knee. Giannis is going to have to step up. And, I'm not going to be so confident about Grayson Allen, like you said, putting up 20-something points. But I think it's going to be a more defensive game than what we've seen in their past series. It's going to be a good chess match. I do give you the 6 games, but I'm going to give you the 6 games. I'm going to give the 6 games Milwaukee's way.
Okay.
I think Milwaukee. I mean, they're the world champs, man. You got to prove me wrong.
They're not the same team. They're not the same team as last year.
All they're missing is PJ Tucker,
and they're missing Middleton. Okay, and Danny Green didn't play. Not Danny Green. The other guy. Oh my goodness, the other former Spur.
Jeff Green?
Not Jeff Green. His name's not Green. Oh my God, I can't pronounce. I can't remember.
We'll circle around back to that if need be.
He's a bench player. What's his name? Oh my God, light skinned guy, not Danny Green. Oh my goodness. Why can't I think of his name, people? I'm so sorry. Not Danny Green. Oh, skinny, light skinned guy. Played for the Spurs. Played for a lot of teams, but he had his matches with the Spurs.
I'll find him.
George Hill.
Oh, him, yes, George Hill. That was your guy. I remember you used to love this guy.
Well, he was with the Spurs. He should have left. So, and he hasn't won anything since he left.
True.
So that's his issue. And I don't. He was he on the team last year? So he would have won a championship. So he finally did win.
Yep.
All right. So that's that. So you got Milwaukee in 6.
Yes.
I got Boston in 6. And then the other matchup is the Heat versus the 76ers. This may be a pretty competitive series. It probably will be. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 6 to 7 games, but I got the Heat winning this series. They're the number 1 overall seed team. They play very good defense. They probably won't have an answer for Embiid, but nobody does. So let him get his. But I think they're going to make sure. I don't think James Harden is going to have a very good series like he did this last time. I think Harden is not about shutting him down. He shuts himself down. So I think that's what we're going to see in this series. He's going to shut himself down like he always does in the playoffs. So I think he's going to be a non-factor. And then you have Tobias Harris and Danny Green.
You say these names as if they're incompetent players.
They're not incompetent players. They're good players, but I don't think they're not going to perform like they did in this last round. And because they're not going to have an answer for Jimmy Buckets, and then they're not going to have an answer for Tyler. We need a hero. And what are they going to do about all that? Now I don't know if Kyle Lowry's playing in the series. If he is, then bring him off the bench because he just no longer should be a starter ever again.
Is he not hurt?
Is he still hurt?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, what a pickup he made. They don't even need him. They could get rid of him in the offseason.
He probably will.
But because he's basically a non-factor. Look how old he got within the last 2 years.
Right before your eyes, but DeRozan doesn't look that old.
Goodness, exactly. And look, remember how he performed in the finals a couple of years ago in Toronto, and look to now he's a shell of himself.
It's the mileage, man. He's been running for years with Toronto.
But I give you this: Miami they don't need him. They're a very good team. And Jimmy is going to have a hell of a series. They don't have an answer for him. I got. It's going to be a good series, though. I think. Jimmy's playing against his former team. They only played on for like a year or 6 months or something like that. Or not even 6 months. He's gonna handle them though. He's gonna take care of them. But it's not going to be an easy series for Miami. So I got it going 6 games. But I would not be surprised. If it goes 7. Embiid is a beast. He, I believe, is going to get the MVP of the league this year. And I got Miami winning this in 6 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. What do you got?
All right. I don't see eye to eye with you on that. I like Philly. Star power is unbelievable. You got Joel Embiid, which will be the MVP, even though he has a torn ligament in his thumb. The man still came out, put up 30-plus points today for that win. You You got James Harden. Yes, he's not the 30-point output guy that he was with Houston, but he's still James Harden. He still gets his calls. And if he calms down a little bit and he's a little bit more aggressive than he had been the first series, I think James Harden is gonna make a big difference for this series. Because yes, Jimmy Butler's gonna get his. There's no doubt about it. He comes out, he balls. I'm not a great big fan of his and his antics on the court, but the man shows up, and when he does show up, he brings his heart and he brings points. He brings those buckets. Jimmy G buckets. G stands for gets. There's a reason why he got that nickname.
When he was here. So give him away for nothing.
So it will be good. Tyler Hero, I've been sweating him all season. He's a great guy off the bench, but if you look at what he did for the playoffs, they shut him down. They're not letting him run around the 3-point line and then stopping up and popping and shooting like he was in the regular season. They're putting a body on him all the time now. So that got shut down a little bit. If you look at who was really producing for them off the bench, somehow Duncan Robinson, which wasn't doing anything at all this season, he's been left open. He's been hitting big buckets. PJ Tucker has made a big difference for them. So that's good. But I still have Philly winning this game. This is going to be a very, very, very tough series. And I'm going to love watching every single game.
How many games?
I think this is going to go 7.
So you got Philly winning in 7.
Yes.
And that 7th game would be in Miami.
And Jimmy Butler being dragged off his own floor on the 7th game because he's going to be so exhausted like he was last year.
Oh wow! Okay, so you got the Heat. I mean, you got the Sixers in 7.
Yes.
I got the Heat in 6, but wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7.
Yeah.
So that's the second round matchup.
Yep.
These series don't start until the 1st, which is Sunday. I think Boston and Milwaukee, and then the following day on the 2nd of May is the Heat versus 76ers. Yep. On another note here, going to the Western Conference. The Warriors defeated the Nuggets last night to advance to the second round. No surprise there. They won that series 4-1. You had Steph Curry, you had Poole, you had Thompson, you had Draymond Green. You had the core of the team there. Made good work. I mean, they made it interesting. Denver made it interesting, but at the end, Jokic was sent home packing. He didn't really have a chance to beat the Warriors anyway.
You don't think he did a stellar job against?
Like you said, he has no help.
He doesn't.
Now Denver did have lots of injuries, so
Jamal Murray out.
No, it wouldn't have made a difference anyway.
What?
But the Golden State ends up winning the series. Not much to really talk about.
Yeah.
The Warriors won the series, no surprise
as
there.
expected.
They're moving on to the second round. They're going to play either the Grizzlies series against. You don't got the Grizzlies though, right? The Grizzlies, Timberwolves, but most likely it's gonna be the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. Pretty much bet on it's gonna be the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. Grizzlies and Golden State second round. But you know what? Golden State does not have home court if they play the Grizzlies. So Golden State, I'm pretty sure, wants Minnesota to win that series because they know they have home court advantage over Minnesota. But if Memphis comes out, which I believe they will, they're gonna play Golden State, and Golden State has to go on the road for that series, which that doesn't mean anything to Golden State because
Golden State's gonna rock them to sleep.
They don't have to.
They're struggling with the Minnesota.
They don't have to worry about home court advantage.
They're gonna rock them Grizzlies to sleep
if they play them. Well, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But the Warriors are sitting back, resting as they should as the veteran team. They're sitting back, waiting for what's gonna happen with Memphis.
I don't have much to say about this. I expected.
So, what did you say about? Do you have anything to say about this series?
I expected Golden State to win this. Period. Like I said, Jokic can only do so much by himself. The man put up 30+ points per game, double doubles, damn near triple double every single game. But how much can the man do by himself? There's not really much to talk about there. I had a feeling that Golden State was gonna pull that out, and if they do see the Grizzlies, they're gonna, like Steph Curry likes to do, put them to sleep. He's going to put them to sleep because they can't even handle the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. So I'm good with that. I'm looking forward to the next series. Not really, because we'll get to see Usher II, Did you see Usher and John Morant's dad sitting next to each other last game?
He does look like Usher.
They look exactly like each other. They wore the same glasses, same. I was like, wait a minute.
John Morant's dad looks like
Yes,
Usher.
his name is T. Morant, and he looks just like Usher. They got the same smile, same eyes. They got the same. I mean, it's like, who are these guys? Are related, or are these guys long lost brothers or something? But anyway, let's move on to the next.
The Suns took care of the Pelicans today.
Yeah.
So the Suns are moving on to the second round.
Yeah.
And they're going to play the winner of the 4 or 5 matchup, which is going on right now, which happens to be the Utah Jazz and Dallas, which is really a series like the least interesting series out of all the playoff series. But right now, I believe Utah is winning. They are, but this series will probably end up going 7. And so the winner is going to play the Suns. And really, fine. I'll give the Suns whoever wins this series because I don't really see either one of these two teams going anywhere after the series anyway. Dallas seems like they're a decent team, but, again, these Jazz and Dallas are probably evenly matched for the most part, so it's probably going to go 7.
I don't see it that way.
And that's what I think will happen. There's not really much to say about that. That's unless you have more to say about that series, I could care less about.
Well, only thing I have to say is I expect Dallas to come out of this because, again, Utah Jazz only has Donovan Mitchell, and right now he's looking like more of a superstar player. Like, I'm trying to show off. I'm trying to show off that I'm the shit rather than I'm trying to win the championship. Rudy Gobert is just, he's just Rudy Gobert to me, man. I don't see a big deal out of it. So I got Mavericks beating them.
Well,
it's a 10-point game, and I expect Mavericks to come back and beat them tonight.
Well, we don't know the matchups yet for the second round of the Western Conference. On our next show, obviously, we'll have that up there, and we'll make our predictions what will happen, who will win which series. That's probably not going to be until next week because these series are probably not going to start until next week anyway.
Sunday.
So we'll definitely see what's going on with that.
Especially with Luka the Don back. I mean, Luka came back. He's balling.
I guess.
But
one thing I want to mention. So Jimmy Butler was fined $15,000 for an obscene gesture. Now I didn't see this, so I didn't see what happened in that game or what he did. I don't know if it was on TV. I didn't see it.
I saw it.
No. But Mike here is actually thinks he deserved it. What is your?
I mean, if LeBron James cannot do the big ball dance, if he can't do the big ball dance, then why can Jimmy Butler, sit back and dry hump the air? Like, because they were whooping the other team so bad, he's just sitting there acting like he's humping them. I mean, come on now. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's.
But Butler didn't play in that game, did he?
No, he was nursing an inflamed knee.
Well, it's just Jimmy being Jimmy. He's just being fun, But hey,
I thought it was classless.
Yeah, you can see it that way, but you don't like Jimmy anyway. But so you think that the fine was deserved?
Absolutely. If you can get $15,000 for doing a big ball dance, like you walking like you got big balls, then for sure, if you're dry humping the air, on national TV in front of like 50,000 fans, then yeah, I think you deserve that.
One thing on a side note, looking at this now, so the Grizzlies, Adams is not going to be playing. He has COVID too.
Yep. That's going to be a problem
for Game 6. So, but Memphis is up 3-2, so they can have a closeout. They can close out Minnesota tomorrow.
I don't see that happening, baby.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
They're gonna be in Minnesota, right?
No. The game was it Game 6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's in Minnesota.
In Minnesota?
That's
right. That's a win for Minnesota.
Well, we'll see what happens. Memphis could pull out and close them out.
I feel like Memphis has been very, 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 very lucky so far. Because my goodness, how many calls are they gonna give John Morant? This man is literally tripping over himself, running out of control. Everyone can see this. I know people in Memphis, if you're watching this, you're probably going to be like, oh, no, it's Ja being Ja. Man, this man is coming down court, has no one else around him, jumps up in midair, has no one to throw it to, and just flails himself. Boom, foul call. I don't like new players within 3 years of their season getting calls like this, just like Trey Young, Donovan Mitchell. I don't like that. Dude, I get it. You're a dynamic player, but for you to be getting these charity calls from the refs, and causing the other team to get a win is BS. That last win that they had a couple of nights ago, to me, was trash. Because I was watching that game and I was telestrating it with Frank the entire time. I was like, look at this. They're going to be letting Ja Morant do whatever he wants, and he's going to trip over himself, and they're going to call a foul. And guess what? It happened like 3 times. They've been very lucky, and whoever they see in the next series, they're done. Done. I'm done with that.
Well, yeah, if they go
Golden State,
they're going to play Golden State the next round. If they do, I can make my prediction now. Golden State's going to win that series. But I think Ja Morant will probably have a decent series.
Matter of fact, it'll be night-night for either one of those teams. It'll be night-night for Minnesota or Memphis. Whoever Golden State sees next series, it's an L for them.
We'll see. We'll definitely
Golden State's going to put them to sleep.
We'll definitely see what happens. Yep. With that being said, we're about an hour in.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about these games? Anything else that we talked about?
For them two, no. We're okay with that. I don't expect anything else, from this.
Why does it say Usher? They're just making fun of it, right? The actual Usher was not there.
He was there. There you are. You didn't watch the game? They kept showing
I didn't
them.
See that.
They kept showing them the entire time. And then after that, they put the glasses. They made them both put glasses on, and they looked exactly the same. They were both smiling. They looked exactly see right there. Look at them. Come on now. These guys look exactly alike.
They're probably about the same age.
Yes.
Because Ja Morant's a young kid. What is he, 20?
I mean, it's crazy. Look at these guys. They look like two brothers, bro. I mean, like blood brothers, not brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
that's funny. Oh, I'll be quiet because you know what I was going to say about him. So
yes, I know. We'll leave that alone.
Anyway,
next.
That actually, I think, wraps up our show for today. Unless there's something else you want to talk about.
We're missing a team. Did we not miss a team?
No, we covered all the teams
for
the most part. Yeah, the West, the second round's not set up yet.
We covered the Suns.
Yeah, we covered the Suns in New Orleans. That's
absolutely. Okay.
So, with that being said, I know the NFL draft was today.
Yeah.
There was no news on the Bears. They're not even drafting anybody today because they don't have no first round pick. If you want to discuss that, I mean, not really much to say. The draft is going on now.
Today's what, Thursday?
Yeah, it's just these players coming in. It's not. I know it's a big deal, but there are no games going on. So
yeah,
we're talking about when there's actually news player movements and things like that of significance. We'll definitely talk about it. I don't really follow college football too much, so I can't really talk about who these players are because I don't know who the hell they are. One of our buddies, Anthony, who might know some of these guys who sometimes makes a regular visit here. So, I mean, again, when it revolves around the Bears, we'll talk about who they get on the next show because they're going to have some draft picks tomorrow. Some second round picks. We'll see who they draft. Yep, what kind of positions they're going to be drafting on. We will talk about that. And that will be probably on the next show because the draft will be over by the time we take the next show.
So, quick rundown. So, the number 1 pick went to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Of course.
They got a defensive end. They got Walker. He's gonna be a great addition to that team. I have seen him. He's defensive end out of Georgia.
There's a player named Sauce Gardner.
Yes, there is. He got that sauce.
Yeah, he plays for New York, so they're gonna sweat him like it ain't shit.
The second went to Detroit as expected, because they had one of the worst records.
They always have the worst record.
Third pick went to the Texans. They got Stingley, a cornerback. Then you had the Jets. They got Gardner. And then, of course, you had the new Thibodeau.
But you know what this
in New York.
You know what this tells me when I'm looking at these top 7 picks?
What's up?
I see no quarterback drafted.
No.
I see no running back drafted, no wide receiver drafted. It looks like more of a...
Down to the 8th pick.
Yeah, but it looks more of a defensive-heavy type of first-round draft, the first picks. But anyway, when the Bears get their picks tomorrow, we definitely will talk about it on our next show to see what kind of needs they filled and holes they need to fill. Because remember, the Bears need to make a lot of changes. Yep. They need to fill a lot of holes in that team. Offensive for sure, defensive absolutely. Wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. We need it all. Offensive linemen, offensive linemen.
Everything has
So-
all been like some sort of line player, defensive end.
Yeah, because there's not that many good offensive players
That's
coming out this
crazy.
year. Now, if the Bears are smart and we have good draft, we have good scouts, then we could probably find some gem somewhere in the offense that might be a surprise.
One quarterback, number 20 for
Pittsburgh.
went to Pittsburgh. That's it. Everything has all been man.
So,
Maybe I should have watched this today.
well, with that being said, anything else?
Nah, we're okay.
Well, you could catch us on a lot of our podcasts, Google Podcast, Apple
Podcast, Spotify, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, we're on YouTube.
We do
Sports Beans
apologize
and
for some of our shows that are not coming up on YouTube for some
Last
reason.
show.
YouTube is being an ass and doing, I don't know why, but I don't know what they're doing and not letting us not explain the show for some reason. But they need to get their acts together and stop BSing around and put the show on there. There's nothing vulgar that we're saying or anything inappropriate we're saying. So stop BSing around and play the show, and stop being an ass. Play the show. Post it. Sorry, folks, about that, but I'm gonna rant on these companies that don't do it, and YouTube better get it together. I actually got a subscription with your TV services. You better get it together, or I'll cancel your asses. So, anyway, most of our listeners do listen on the podcast anyway, but we if you want to see what we look like, check us out on YouTube. Hopefully, they don't hate again and not post us.
Yeah, well, I tried. But we only missed one episode that was on video. Otherwise, you still can catch us on the audio. But that being said, thank you again for listening. I've been under the weather, so we weren't able to do very many shows, as many as we wanted because the playoffs is hot right now. I do want to do, I do plan on doing the show before the next series gets started, so we can talk about everything that's lined up. It won't be as long as the show.
Probably Sunday.
Yeah,
because by Sunday we'll know the second round for sure.
Yep.
Because Sunday starts the first round.
Yep.
That's the Boston Milwaukee series starts on Sunday.
Yep.
So we could probably do a show either right before that start. Well, that starts
we'll talk
early.
about that.
That starts early.
And we'll
that's
have
a 12 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably have a show on Sunday afternoon, probably after that game, maybe discuss a little bit of that game and the second round in the Western Conference. And, of course, some Bears talk, because by then we'll know who the Bears have, who they drafted.
Yep.
With that being said, thank you for listening. Send your questions, I guess, on YouTube. And we'll answer them if you have any questions. We'll try to answer them the best that we can. We'll try to set a slot aside to answer any questions.
Yep.
If there are any questions posted, we'll do our best to answer them. With that being said, I'm Frank. This is Mike. You guys take it easy and have a very good weekend. And
see you again.
See you again, and hopefully enjoy these playoffs because they're actually pretty exciting this year.
Yep.
Take it easy.